Welcome to Save Yourself Personal Finance. I'm Scott Bell, and I've been an attorney and a real estate broker for 20 years. I've spent my entire professional career dealing with debt in one form or another. I've counseled thousands of people in the various ways of dealing with debt, and one thing I always get asked about is debt settlement. Today we're going to talk about how debt settlement works and whether or not it's a good idea for you. So, let's get started. Thanks for being here, and as always, don't forget to support the channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons below, and leave a comment or two, or three. It really does make a difference and helps me reach more people who really need some help. We've all seen the commercials on TV placed by various debt settlement companies claiming that they have some secret that the credit card companies don't want you to know about, or that they have some special assistance program that will get you out of debt. And I get it. Bankruptcy is the last resort kind of thing, and you really should look at all of your available options before filing bankruptcy. Unfortunately, it usually doesn't work out the way you want, despite all the secret programs that the credit card companies don't want you to know about. But first, let's look at what it is that these companies actually do. First, they get a list of your creditors, either from you or by pulling your credit. Second, they compare your list of creditors with their list of creditors that they believe will work with them or have worked with them in the past. The rub here is that not all creditors are willing to work with them. Third, then they look at your income and expenses and come up with a monthly payment that you can pay directly to the settlement company instead of paying your creditors. If this sounds problematic, you're right, but we'll look at why in a few minutes. Fourth, they have you sign an agreement where you agree to pay that monthly amount, and they agree to hold your money and negotiate with the creditors that will work with them on your behalf. Fifth, once they're holding a certain amount of your money, they start to contact your creditors to see if the creditors are willing to accept less than what you owe. Sixth, if the creditors are willing, the debt settlement company will pay the creditor from your money that they're holding, and then move on to another creditor, and then so on until all creditors who are willing to settle have been paid. Sounds great, doesn't it? So what's the advantage to you for following one of these settlement programs? 1, some of your debts get paid for less than what you owe. That's great. 2, you may not have to file bankruptcy. And 3, you reduce or eliminate your unsecured debt. Now, you might be asking yourself, but Scott, this all sounds so great. What's the problem? Well, let's get into it. First, some creditors won't deal with the debt settlement companies, so you're still going to be paying those creditors while you're making your monthly payment to the debt settlement company. If you're already strapped for cash, you may not be able to afford to pay both every month. 2, since you're not making the minimum payments on your debts, the creditors will be reporting a derogatory payment history on your credit reports. This also means that late fees and penalties will accrue on each debt that is not getting paid at least the monthly minimum payment, which obviously raises your balances on the cards. Also, since you're not making the minimum payments, the creditors may file a lawsuit against you, get a judgment, and garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or put a lien on your house in states where that's allowed. I've seen this happen several times, and the settlement company either retains a local attorney who knows really nothing about your case and have them file a generic answer to the lawsuit, or simply tell you to file bankruptcy, which means you've wasted all that time and money trying to avoid what they have now told you need to do anyway. 3, here's the kind of sneaky part. The debt settlement company knows you're probably going to file bankruptcy anyway, or at the very least not going to follow through with the settlement plan payments. So they front load their fees so that they can make sure they get paid no matter what happens. This is how they do that. Sometimes 80 to 90% of the monthly fees for the first 10 to 12 months are their fees. For example, if your settlement plan payment is $400 per month, then maybe $300 of that for the first 10 months are the fees that the settlement company will keep. That's a lot of money to lose if you wind up not following through, either voluntarily or because you got sued and have to file bankruptcy anyway. 4, a lot of times the debt settlement company won't tell you, or it's in the fine print, that you may owe income taxes on the debt that's canceled through the settlement. Now, I'm not a tax attorney, but in general what happens is that the creditor who settled with you will file with the IRS and send to you what's called a 1099-C cancellation of debt. What that means is that the IRS treats canceled debt as income to you, and you have to pay taxes on that as if it were actually paid to you. An example would be if your debts got settled and you saved $10,000 by having $10,000 canceled in the settlement, then your income for that year just went up $10,000 and you owe taxes on that. Granted, paying income taxes on $10,000 is less than paying the debt in full. But oftentimes it catches you by surprise because you didn't know there would be tax consequences to settling the debts. And just to throw this in, you don't have to pay taxes on debts discharged in a bankruptcy because the tax code carves out what is called a safe harbor for people who are insolvent. And the filing of the bankruptcy is proof of the taxpayer's insolvency. Again, not tax or legal advice, okay? Yes, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer, okay? So when you're dealing with a lot of debt, look at all of your options. If you look into any kind of a debt settlement program, make sure to read all of the fine print and make a fully informed decision. As always, if you found this information helpful, please make sure to click the like and subscribe buttons below and leave a comment or two telling me about your experience with a debt settlement company. I do read the comments and I will reply whenever possible. Thanks, and see you next time.